Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambam, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryandam, Vande Guru Paramparam, Saganavavadu, Saganopunaktu, Sagaviryam Karavavakai, Tejasvina Vadidamustamavat Vishavake. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham, Malam Charirasya Vaitekena, Yopa Karotam, Pravaram Muninam, Patanjali, Pranjalim Ranadosmi. Good morning. So I have not really prepared any slide or anything like that, so we can just have a free flow conversation today. So as was mentioned, so my goal today is to give a recap of what you have seen through in the last 28, 29 weeks of Patanjali's Samadhi Padha, the first part. We don't dwell too deep, but I think get a coherent picture so that we can reconfirm that it is relevant to us. See, we do not need to remember the sutras, but we should understand the import of it and apply it. But anything stays in our mind if it is relevant, Relevance is not just critical, breathing is critical. We want to have breathing all the time, but we never think of breathing because it is taken for granted. So it also has to be valuable, enchanting the value. So I remember somebody sent yesterday or something, a WhatsApp message in which a little anecdote where a friend of Mr. J.R.D. Tata told him that he is not able to keep his pens safely. Every time he has a pen, he loses it. And because he's become a habitual loser, so he buys only a very low quality pen, so that doesn't matter, it goes away. And apparently Tata told him, look, why don't you for a change go and invest in a very good pen? And then he bought a Mont Blanc, an expensive gold nibbed pen. And after a few years, a few months, when he met Tata, Tata asked him, are you keep losing the pen? And he said, no, I keep it. It's very interesting insight because once you know that something is valuable, you preserve it. So many of our regrets in life is that we do not know what value that we have in the relationship that we have, in the opportunity that we have, the knowledge that we get. So sooner we understand the value of things, the context will be better. So therefore I wanted to, again, just go back, I say first of all, you must really understand, if you learn Gita, Krishna often repeats, to a level of boring, but it is to make you that understand a different perspective. So I just recap for the sake of understanding it. The Patanjali Yoga Sutra or the Vedanta scriptures or the Gita lessons that we do, all that is to give us relevance in life and value in life. But what is value in life? Value in life is what is your goal, what do you want to achieve. So if Vedanta says, look, or Patanjali says, Kaivalyam is your goal, moksham, liberation, freedom, you get bored. I'm trapped in anything. Moksham is a very complex word, and you say, no, this looks like a very retired people's affair. I don't want it. I want happiness. So therefore, we can say the life goal is to enjoy. So life is to enjoy. So therefore, it is legitimate. Anything that allows you to enjoy life is relevant to you, valuable to you. Now, I wanted to take this assertion, which you accept, to show that why Yoga Shastra is going to make you enjoy life. See, I enjoyed a train set. When I was young, I liked to, motorized trains, I like it. And now it doesn't matter. So the enjoyment, you see, is relative. The moment you say something is relative, it loses its value potential dramatically. What I mean by this is, relative means it is going to change. It is not absolutely real. It is subjective. The enjoyment will not be there. It will not last. Therefore, life is to enjoy, but the enjoyment has to last. Well, enjoyment is also not fear. Because fear is a killer of joy, right? Fear. Exam, I need to pass, People commit suicide if they fail the exams. Why? Because guilt, ego. So the fear is another killer of enjoyment. Therefore, life is to seek abhayam. So to enjoy has to combine with to abhayam, to be free. Therefore, you can define life, therefore, to enjoy and to be free. These two are very important goals. They are together. True enjoyment is not possible if you are not free. But if you are free, you will be always enjoying life. So therefore, you can see the superlatively, life is to be free is a much better Purushartham. Now, if you say that, welcome to the club. To be free is to attain moksha. Therefore, it is absolutely fine to say, my goal is to attain moksha. Nobody should get scared. It's not running away to death. It is to live life today. Therefore, this education has to start at a very early age. Because if you're going to live for, say, 80, 90, 100 years, what's the point of learning it when you're 75 and then trying to regret? Because what happened? More regrets come in. I missed it. So you have to really start moving towards this thing at a young age. So I think the reason I say that is the relevance should be inculcated, propagated to youngsters in our family so that young children understand this. So therefore, to enjoy, to be free. Now this transition is not going to be easy because we do not know what is to be free unless you are put in stress. Parents give you food, you get indulged, happiness comes through and goes. So life teaches you lessons. Life gives you hardship. Life gives you ordeals. Then you say, okay, to be free from everything, free from obligations, love. Now, love is also not, when I say I love you, so if it is to mean that therefore you behave the way I expect you to behave because I love you, you listen to me. And that is not freedom. That's not giving freedom to them. It is bondage, it's moha. So we get illusioned in this in life. We said, oh, I love my child, I protect it. You don't give them freedom. So therefore the transition happened by learning. So to enjoy is the goal, to be free is the goal, but to go from to enjoy to free, to learn is another goal. So therefore, life is to learn. Now, why I'm saying this to Patanjali's yoga? No, enjoyment is what is enjoyment? Enjoyment is, I realize now, we're all now enough maturity. Enjoyment is not the Apple, iPad, or iPhone, the new model you got. Because that same iPhone looks absolutely rubbish in 2 years after because an iPhone 15 comes in, 16 comes in. So it is not in the object, it is in the mind that conceives pleasure out of it. Same way with bhayam, from the mind. Therefore, to enjoy, to be free, the determinant factor is your mind. Now, what is mind is a very difficult question to answer. Nobody dared to answer except Patanjali's and our scriptures because Western science was dragging their feet. They start defining mind to be a mysterious brain scatter. Somebody said that. So let's not worry about that. Buddhists also started. Buddhists said there is no mind. Shanavadam. A thought comes in, there's a mind exists. Thought goes away, mind goes away. The thought comes, thought goes, and why do you do yoga? Mind is not there after the thought. So therefore, we go back to our scriptures, that we need a science which talks about the instrument that we have, which becomes a fundamental requirement to enjoy life, to be free, and to learn. That is mind. Vedanta told us what you will learn is Atma Jnanam, which will give you freedom without doing any effort. But Vedanta did not tell you the method by which your mind have to grasp it. But it was kind enough to say, look, you go to this school, spend some time, clean up your mind and come. So that's why we come to Patanjali. So see, I wander around to tell you why you should value Patanjali's Yoga Sastra and the related text, whether it comes from Gita or from anything. If it is all about mind, see, mind is not only defining what is happiness, what is sadness, what is fear, not fear. The very reason it defines it, it takes control, is it not? So if somebody is controlling me, I'm not free. Even it is God, I have to be free. That is Advaita. With all respect, you say, yeah, mind. But now listen to me. I will tell you what you need to do. Now, if I can do that, I am not controlling the mind. But Patanjali says, you can't control the mind because to control the mind, you should have an effort to clean the mind. What is it? What is it? Cleaning the mind. Cleaning the mind means an instrument has to be clean. If I have a car, I need to really clean the carburetor, get the gearbox right, brake oils right, everything runs perfectly. I need to polish it, maintain it. Now, I'm going to be the boss of the mind. It is my instrument. I must clean it. Well, who dirtied it? So I asked the question to Patanjali. Okay, I clean it, but I didn't do any. I didn't even know where the mind exists. How can I pour rubbish into it? Then he says, well, the mind is something which is with you all the time when you are in avidya, because it is an instrument by which you show your relative reality, that I exist, asmita, aham. And the moment you are thinking that I exist away from the universal existence, I become ashuddha. When I become different from something else, I am defective. Is it not? So therefore, there is an inherent definition of mind being avidya, ashuddha. But don't take it that way literally, because it's a blanket, it's canvas. There is an avidya. Okay, that I cannot do anything about it right now. I need to go to Vedantam for it. But then the fabric of mind, remember, mind, in West we say mind over the matter, right? Matter is tangible, mind is intangible. Therefore, it does not matter. If it does not matter, is a non-material stuff. Material scientists won't touch it. It's kind of taboo. We push it aside. But so scriptures don't take it. Mind is a matter. It is so fine matter that you are not able to conceive by your brain, you are able to touch it. It is a matter. If it is a matter, it is jadam. It can animate. So yes, sentiency can come. You know, if you look at an arrow that flies, right? The arrow is animated, it is flying. Jadam, how does it fly? Jada Shakti. Jada Shakti. Even every inanimate object acquire power of movement. In the Lalita Sakashtam, it says just Jada Shakti. You know, you sit on a sofa all the time. It's your chair, you know, your seat. All the time you sit there, for example. And in your absence, somebody comes and sits there. And then after the person is gone, you go and sit there. Intuitively, you know that something is not right. This is inexplicable. I mean, you may have an experience. Maybe you don't have it. I have. You feel that something is there. That intuitive knowledge comes because the Jada Shakti radiates a different ambience. Everything acquires stuff. So the mind, the Jada Shakti, acquires different varieties of tendencies coming out of samskaras. Samskaras are the past days. Samskaras are not, don't worry about the buzzword. Samskara is if you do something, there's an impact in you. That impact will not go away until you completely ignore it, completely detach from it. The detachment is vairagyam. Until the vairagyam comes in, things will keep on piling. There will be samskara. What the samskara does, it is a drop in the mirror of mind. A drop means it can be a water drop, it could be a polluted drop, it could be in a concave lens form or a convex lens form. Therefore, it will distort the messages the mind is seeing. Therefore, you see it, well, this person is appreciating me. He may have an interior motive. So you don't see what the real fact is. You see what you want to see. There you go. So you started getting dirty in the thoughts without you knowing. So therefore, the intrinsic gunas create this kalmisham, klishtam. It sprays the window of mind. It sprays the windows of mind from outside because you see a beautiful car. I don't have it. He has it. Jealous comes in. A beautiful person or whatever. And internally, you have the natural tendency to lie, to steal, to be greed from samskara. So, bahirmukham and andarmukham, dirt is being sprayed in the mind. So therefore, if I have to have the mind to be in my control and need to clean it, I must recognize and acknowledge that I have these defects. Now, this is the problem. The problem is, unfortunately, you can't see the defect. You know, it's on your face. If it's on in my forehead, I have a scar or dirt, and I don't have a mirror. And I'm walking there, and you look at me and say, "There is something wrong in your forehead." And if you get hurt, how dare you tell me that one? I am a Sundara Purusha. I have nothing wrong. You are blaming me. I get upset with you. He said, "Fine, good luck." We do behave like this all the time. We cannot take criticism. We cannot take comment. We cannot see. If somebody tell me there's a dirt, I clean it up. I have to worship him. See, and where do you get that kind of feedback? People start looking at your fault only when they're not blinded by the blind love. When they're blind love, they'll say, "Oh, my daughter, my son, absolutely brilliant." The moment the child rebels, the mother says, "I know what your qualities are. You are behaving like that." See? Now, what she's doing, she's not hurting him. She may have intent of hurting, that doesn't matter. But if the child is coming to the Patanjali's yoga class, he will say, "Hey, opportunity for me." She is telling me now that without moham, she's telling me, I've been a short-tempered person. I've been a depressed person. I'm a lazy person. You see? So therefore, what I'm saying, therefore, Patanjali's knowledge you can impart and learn, but you cannot use it unless you also change your value system. You cannot sit there and I learn from an internet or a book and I say this mantra and close my eyes and I become powerful. You will not. Even if you get some unusual power because you persist on something, bhava pratyayam, it's not going to take you anywhere. So therefore, there is no compromise of morality, values that you need to improve, which means acceptance Now, if I had to accept criticism from somebody else, what I should do, I should be of the mind that that person is my bandhu. That person is my best friend. Number one. So Priyam comes in. Two, submission, honor comes in. But this is difficult for me to come. Because this is my ego gets hurt. Now the third trick. Disown it. This my forehead has got a scar. This is a dead. It is a dead forehead. When I'm sleeping, it is dead. It's going to die after some time. I own it like my shirt. This shirt may get torn away, throw it away without passion. So you create detachment. So therefore, you must be prepared to accept criticism with the view that you want to improve yourself, because you need to enjoy life. Therefore, you expand your satsang, and then you look for opportunity. I will tell you honestly, if somebody tells you you are the best in the world, you write well, you speak well, go away from them. Fine, thank you very much. It's not going to make you anything better. Somebody tells you, could you consider this way? Can you change it? So you do that. So that is why I think Patanjali. So what he did was, in the Patanjali's first chapter, he got 4 chapters. Samadhi Padha with the 51 sutras. You should have stopped it there, because it's given whatever need to be said, already said. But then he goes on to say Sadhana Padam, another 55 sutras in the next chapter. Then he's going to say another 55 sutras in Vibhuti Padam, about the powers of what you achieve. Then another 30, 31 or 32 on the Kaivalya. So he goes on. But we have come to the school of Patanjali, and we adore him and worship him with a very simple goal, but a gracious goal, that I want to go out of it, graduate from here with a tool set that my mind can be cleaned, and I am going to clean it. What power comes out of it, whether I can walk on the water, I can fly on the sky, I don't care. Because what is that for? Ramakrishna was there, and maybe one of the saints was there. I think he says, one of the disciples says, no, I've seen you after 12 years and did some abhyasam. I did some yogas, and I can put thread from this nose and bring it this nose, and I can walk on the water. And he said, yeah, very good. But crossing the river is only 2 cents. You give the boatman, you can cross it. You wasted 12 years of life. See, what is this power is going to do? No power is bigger than the power of being free. So we're not going to go into the third chapter, fourth chapter. You're not going to miss anything. So let's see what he said in the first chapter. So first chapter, if you have the text, maybe you can have it. So Adha Yoganu Sasanam. The first one, he said, is called Uddesha Sutra. Adha Yoganu Sasanam. Now we have the Yoga Sasanam, Anusasanam, which is coming regularly. See, what Patanjali says, I am telling you, he is not saying that. Anusasana means it is there before, I'm telling you now. It means I am not the owner of it. This is obedience, this is humility. See, if you write a book, you don't say, I write a book, because thought is just, after all, thought comes to you, right? You only regulate and put it. So you can take some credit for wordsmithing it and putting on a print. Everything is drishtanda, drishti. Seer. If you are a seer, you will not take ownership for it. This is the principles of Karma Yoga. Everything I do is that I had an opportunity to be part of the process of doing it. So he says Anusasanam. It was there before, I'm telling you now. But for me as a disciple, I'll say Anusasana means I must do it. Anu means continuous. I must continue to follow this. So therefore, in the first sutra, he said, a long heritage science of yoga, I am giving you. You use it continuously forever. Therefore, it is sanadana. It is always there. Then in the second to fourth, yogas chitta vritti nirodha. Tadathrishtu swarupe avasthanam. Vritti sharubhyam idaratra. These three sutras, it define everything. Yoga is giving the lakshyartha, nirdesham. What is the whole definition of it? Yoga is chitta vritti nirodham. So he's combining whatever I said just now. Now mind, he's not using the word manas. Chittam, he uses the word chittam. Chit is not chittam, right? Remember that chit, when you say in Vedanta, chit is consciousness, is the underlying awareness of it. Chittam is the plateau where the thoughts come. A thought comes to me, flying in Air France, thought comes to me, and I'm aware the thought comes to me. The awareness is in chit. Of course, it comes into the mind as another thought. So, vritti is what comes on this mind, a thought, a change. Nirodham means, literally it means stopping it, controlling it, but we take it as a regulation. So, chitta vritti nirodham means not stopping the thoughts in the mind. If you want to stop all the thoughts, you would have said sarva vritti nirodham. Sarvatra nirodham. It's not the word sarva. So, Sutra has got a lot of meaning, so we need to go very deeply. So here he says, remove thoughts, regulate thoughts. And if you do that, tadathrishtu swarupe avasthanam. You become one with the thought that you want to be in. Now you can go back to our life's goal. My goal is to enjoy, to be free. So if you know what gives you freedom, you do the dhyanam on it. Here yoga also means dhyanam. If you do the dhyanam on that alone, you become that. It's not that you're going to get it, but you become that. You become one with this. When you are not one with that, you will be just like anybody, you know. When the anger comes to your mind, you see me, this angry man. When I am sad, you will see this sad man. So I become a sad man, angry man, good man, bad man. So I'm not a personality that I am truly is, but I'm just changing myself. So in this, he has given you what is the purpose of yoga. Then he said on the 5 to 11, vrittaya panchataya klishta aklishtaha. Then he started defining, okay, now you know it, that vritti, the thought, is two types, klishta, aklishta. Panchataya, he also gives you 5 types. 5 types because of klishta, aklishta. He does not tell you what is the klishta thoughts reasons are here, but we saw that they are avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesa. We're going to see it in a deeper in the chapter 2. So klishta means that gives you grief, that gives you bhayam, that gives you distress. Any thought that gives you distress is klishta thought. You don't want the klishta thought. Therefore, the nirodham means remove the klishta thought. Excellent. Now, I don't really sit down and say, let me now bring a thought. I don't do that. Thought comes to me, right? Thought comes because of some trigger. So you have the question in the mind, okay, I understand sad thoughts. How does this thoughts come? Then he said, pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nitra, smrtaya. So he said, there are five types of thoughts that comes to you from 5 sources. Pramanam, that anything that gives you knowledge, the sound, the music, the hearing, the picture, everything I see, it triggers the thought. You see me, then you get a thought. You hear me, you get a thought. Or the thought may be incorrect thought. You may be hearing me wrongly and your thought goes in a wrong direction. Instead of pramanam, prama becomes a brahma. Wrong thoughts. That's viparyaya. Or you have, there's no sabdat that, meaning go on an imaginary ride, suddenly you think of something else and a ghost, you think about it and vikalpam. Even a God, how can you think of God? Vikalpam. Not in a bad way, because you don't see God, but you imagine God. Vikalpam. In Vedanta, we use vikalpam very much. Then we learned nidra. Nidra also a thought, which solves many of the Vedantic questions that we will have. When you start seeing nidra as a thought, a vritti, the mind is a mirror looking at it, with nidra comes in front of it, completely hiding it, all the light. Then mind is full of nidra, tamas. When it is gone, when you're able to say, I was having a good sleep, that you are able to say because nidra is a thought, everything. That's something which you learned. Then smriti. Smriti is a memory that comes and goes. And then he started telling this pramanam. What is a pramanam? Pramanam will be pratyaksha anumana agama pramanani. So eyes, seeing by eyes, inferences, and shabda jnanam. Then viparyayo mithya jnanam atatrupa pratishtam. The viparya, the viparita jnanam comes from mithyatva. Not seeing the truth from like seeing a snake in a rope. All these are viparyaya. Then pratyaksha anumana agama, and then comes to agama, satya jnananu bhadi vastu sunyo vikalpa. So when you don't have shabda jnanam or anumana jnanam, but you don't have anything, vastu sunya, there is nothing there. I hear ghost, I don't see ghost, but you imagine ghost, vikalpa. Then abhava pratya alambana vritti nidraha. That is the nidra. Then anuputa vishaya asam santosha smriti. Anuputa vishaya means, anubhuti here means experience. Anubhuta vishayam, experienced object, experience happen. Asam pramoshaya. Asam pramoshaya means it doesn't go away, it's lingering around. The thought of experience linger around, it's called smriti. But our mind goes away, when you get amnesia, everything goes away. But we got a limit, forgetfulness is a blessing. Otherwise, if I know what I was born like, I may be a pet dog in your house. So I don't know. So this is worrying. So for us, we are lucky we forget things. Krishna says in Gita, I was teaching the son, I was teaching, Shubha, many people I taught before the same science, and Arjuna says, you are with me, how can you teach all these people? And even if you taught, how do you remember all these things? But he's a yogi. He can see smriti as a vritti, he can bring it through. So we saw this definition of what it is in this sutras. Then we say, okay, I know what is vritti, I know what to do. How do I control it? And then he's made a very important sutra, Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tan Nirodhaka. Tan Nirodhaka. That tan means that all this vritti, Nirodhaka, you can control it with Abhyasam and Vairagyam. And what is Abhyasam? Tatra Stidau Yatno Abhyasata. That if you are able to be in a position of virtuous thought and you can put all the efforts to hold on to the thing, that effort you put to be in that position, Stitao, in that position, that is Abhyasam. It could be pranayama, it could be a dhyana, it could be reading a book. He's not defining that. The effort, the endeavor that you do to be in that state of quietude, a state of satvritti, that is abhyasa. And it has to be continuous. Sadhu, dirgha kala, nairandriya, satkaro sevita, dridabhumihi. Nairandriya means nirandana, without interruption. Continuously you focus on it. And dridabhumihi, you have a very solid ground. Mind is not wandering. So if you do all the effort to keep it there, that's called abhyasa. Okay. Now what is vairagya? Drishta anushrivika vishaya drishnasya vashikara sankhya vairagya. He defined vairagyam beautifully. Vairagyam, we'll be always talking about vairagyam in Vedanta also. whatever I see, whatever I hear, whatever I see as an object of interest, when I can create control over them, Vashikaram Samgya, I were able to dispassionately deal with those things. Vairagya is not hate. Please don't think Vairagya means hating. Or Vairagya is not stubbornness. Vairagya is the ability to choose and unchoose things that are needed for the task in hand. Like if I'm doing the office work, my loving child is come and asking me to play with her, I have to be dispassionate. So this requires a lot of discussion, so we did that one. But this Vairagyam can become supreme, Tatparam, Purushakyadya, Guna Vaitrishnyam. This Vairagyam becomes supreme when the dedication and the focus is on the supreme object. What is the supreme object? The Purusha, myself, the Parabrahma. Purushakyadya. So Purushakyadya is very important. The knowledge about the Purusha, Atmajnana. So always Patanjali gives this underlying current. All this dhyanam, yogam you do for the Atmajnanam. Because this tool can, I can take a knife and cut a fruit, kill somebody, do a surgical operation. So he's saying you can do many things, but use it for the supreme purpose. The Vairagyam is like that. Then we saw, okay, I saw this Abhyasa Vairagyam. What do I do with this? Well, now your goal is to clean up the mind. And to clean up the mind, you got the broomsticks and the water. Abhyasa Vairagyam. For the water, broomstick, tarita, clean it. And the process of doing this is dhyana. So I go to dhyana with the Abhyasa Vairagyam to clean up the mind. But what is a good time for that server, the maid to come and clean up the house? When it is not in an absolute chaotic situation. Fight is going on between the children. You are getting down from the loft, something is falling apart the part. If the maid comes there at the door, can I clean it up now? You say, please wait. Let me put all the rubbish out first and then you can come start cleaning. Or you are in a kind of a lethargic state, sleeping, and you don't want the vacuum to come and do it because you won't be able to accept it, hold on to it for a long time. Your mind is like this. The mind is completely scattered, called kshipta, messed up. Because of passionate action, rajas, angry, anxiety, I need to do this, that. So many things you do. I say, by the way, let me do the dhyana for 5 minutes. Don't even try it. So the kshiptam is one state of mind. This is not told in this sutra, but we saw that in the discussion. When my mind, so this is the fact. Everybody's mind will be in a kshipta state. Let it rest. Or in a mood state, tamasic, lethargic. Had a 5-course meal, and you're going to learn in Gita as well as in the second chapter. You should only eat half your stomach, and quarter part should be water. The quarter should be free. So the samana vayu has to rotate. But we take, full meal, 15 naans I eat, and my stomach is completely full. I am so dull. I can't do dhyana. So there's a mood state. But I am in a state where I have digested. Now I'm thinking, and I think I'm really keen. Vikshipta. We are 90% of the time in the Vikshipta state. At least I hope. That is fine for us. If that's the time we can enter. Of course, Patanjali doesn't like that. He wants to go to the Ekagram state. But he is a purist. So I think we need to take our condition as well, right? So Vikshipta state, where your mind is longing to look for dhyanam, but you are not really stressed up, you are not feeling lethargic, not in the 2 o'clock after the great meal, or not after 10 o'clock after the office call, but maybe the early morning, the evening, the good timing. Vikshipta state, you sit on it, and when you do dhyanam, your mind start focusing towards what you want to focus. And when you achieve that, it is called Egagra. And when you are in Egagram, you only focus on that one that you want it, everything else goes away. But you still think that I am thinking of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is in my mind. I am completely fulfilled. I don't hear this phone noise. I don't hear anything. I'm in Egagram. But I'm thinking that I am doing dhyanam, that I am blissful. That is still there. But even when that is gone, my mind becomes nirodham. This is exactly what Patanjali wants us to do. So the last state of mind is a nirodham state, where you don't even have identity of what you are doing, who you are doing, why are you doing. You just become an observer, seer. So this transition, Patanjali gives us certain steps. All this is not necessary for us to learn, but he says, look, how do I know that I'm progressing? He says, vitarka, vichara, ananda, asmita, rupa, and kama. It's called samprajña samadhi. Samadhi is a state of dhyanam where you attain peace with yourself. So that's how we should take it this way. So he said, vitarka samadhi, vichara samadhi, ananda samadhi, asmita samadhi. This fourth state comes in. Vitarka simply, he's going to teach later. Vitarka means when you are concentrating on a gross object. This Lord Ganesha, Rama. Vichara is a subtle object. Ananda means you forget the objects. You focus on the indriyas. I'm looking at the hearing ability of mind. That gives you ananda. Object is gone. Now this is the important step. You start enjoying the process of learning, not the object itself. So life becomes very pure. Life is to learn. Comes in here in the Ananda Samadhi because you're doing that. But then when you give up that, you become Asmita. So he said that. This is all called Samprajña Samadhi. Samprajña Samadhi means simply a samadhi in which you have something to hold on to. That's what it is. Samprajña Samadhi is I need something to hold on to it so that I can be rescued from this chitta vrittis. Now, if I can give up the whole virama pratyaya, when I give up even that, give holiday to that. Virama means holiday. Even that, what comes out? Because of my abhyasa purva, abhyasa vairagya purva. What comes out is asamprajñata samadhi, virama pratyaya, abhyasa purva, samskara sesho anya. Anya means different from the samprajña samadhi, which is asamprajña samadhi, is that which is coming out of my abhyasa and vairagyam has samskara sesha. That means I am completely free. No thoughts from outside can come and disturb me. I blocked it. Therefore, there is no Bhagirmukha Ashuddha. But I still have samskaras. Samskara session. Then he realized that this technique can be abused. Then he gave quickly the next one in 19. Bhavat Pratyayo Videka Prakriti Layana. He said, yeah, this is a wonderful thing. Wait a minute, I am not interested in Atma, Swami and all that. I want to attain this power. I take this dhyana. You'll get it. But then you are called a Bhavat Pratya Samadhi. Bhavat means, Bhava means avidya, not right knowledge. So you become Videka Mukti. You just die, you go into devas, you come as a pitru. You keep on coming in samsara. But you need to go on the Ubaya Prati Samadhi, which is basically Samadhi, which is Abhyasa Vairagyam for Atmajna. Okay, how do I do this? And he said, you need to have 5 things to move from the Samprajñada to Asamprajñada. The 5 things you must have. Shraddha. Shraddha is what? Undoubting, unassailing commitment to the knowledge, that the knowledge is challenging you. When the knowledge is challenging you, and your experience say this is not acceptable to me, but if you can convert that position to be, it's not acceptable to me because my knowledge is limited. This may be truth. Therefore, I follow it. That is Shraddha. It doesn't come very easily. Shraddha, Virya, the potency, the valor, the commitment, dhairyam. You know, when you're sitting there and somebody says, yeah, why are you wasting your time? No, this is what I need to do. Smriti, remembrance, what you achieved previous day, so it gives you motivation for it. Samadhi, which is the tranquil state that you have. Prajnapurvaka iteresham. So all this to be with the knowledge that I am where I am going. Otherwise, you get scattered. Then we ask the question, okay, I am happy, I do this. How long do I have to do it? What is the timeline for it? He says, okay, this is difficult to answer. But he says it depends on your intensity and momentum. Tibra samveganam asannaha. Asannaha means near. If you are near Tibra samveganam, how intense you are, what's the momentum you have in doing it. Now you should feel like your head is burning if you don't pour the water in it, right? When the house is on a fire, you don't start thinking about how do I build the well. No. You look for any water to drop. That kind of a urge you should have to achieve yoga. So and then he also went on to say, Mridumatya Adimatretva Tato Vishesha. He said medium, low, medium, high, all these things he's giving you to give you gradation. So that you can compare it. Okay, I am in a Mridu state, I'm in a low state, he's in a higher state, I must go to the other state. You know, like an exam you do, first grade, second grade, you go like that. He gave that. Then when we are still confused, okay, this looks like a big challenge because normally exams I don't write well, and now this is too much of exam to write. I was hesitating. And Patanjali looks at me and says, okay, Ishvara Pranidathatva. The 23rd is very important. Ishvara Pranidanatva. So if you can take the Ishvara as your presence, at your presence. What does it mean? It means it is going to create this momentum, create the intensity. And you were surprising to us. Okay, fine. But what is this Ishvara? Because we want to be very clear, right? We are Shuddha Vedanta, everything should be very clear. Then he said, Klesha Karma Vibhaga Ashaya, Abramrishtaya, Purusya Vishesha Ishvara. Abramrishtaya means unsmeared by. Klesham, Karmam, Vibhagam. Klesha means distress, karmas, the actions, the fruits of actions, their crowd. All this is untouched by a person, that's divine power, that is Ishvara. Okay, we don't know it, the person, but I know that it is not me. So therefore, it is something superior to me. So always, that's why bhakti comes into picture. You should, of course, Vedanta going to dismantle all this, but it's very important a step that I should look at it, something above me to look up to. When you look up to, you will see the growth path, right? And he also said, well, I will tell you, you don't need to believe just because I say, it is also Tatra Niradishayam Sarvajna Bijam. Niradishayam. Niradishayam, Disha means direction, space. Niradishayam. It is absolutely space unlimited. Sarvajna Bijam. All knowing. Sapurvesham bhi Guru Kalena Anavachchedat in 26. Time unlimited. Unlimited by time, unlimited by space. That is Ishvara. Well, show me something which is unlimited like this. I want to know the existence of it. That's why he gives Drishtandam. Okay, okay, look at this. Now, fire. No, fire starts and ends. Look at the air. Oh, there is space, there is no air. Oh, space. Take up space. Space is everywhere. If you look at a little pot, what is inside the pot? Emptiness. But if you have to say positively, it's space. So the omniscient, omnipresent space is in a little pot. You cannot argue with that, right? The space inside the pot is the omnipresent. Just because it is in the pot, it doesn't lose its omnipresence. So therefore, why the problem? The God is everywhere, the God is inside me. So I'm a pot, I'm a mud pot, low-class mud pot. But inside, that Brahman is omnipresent. See, there's no way to argue about this. So there is this power. Then I said, okay, I understand. There is a omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent Ishvara is there. Because he's formless, I can't put a form. So I need an alambanam. I need to hold on to something. So what do I do? How do I do a dhyana? Yeah, no worries. I'll give you something. I'll give you a nama. He says, Dasya Vachakaka Pranavaha. That is called Pranavam. Pranavam is not his name. That is called Pranava, means that which is always new, always present. It is Omkar. He basically implies Omkar. He doesn't even say the Om, because such a reverence it is. He indicates to you that is Omkara. So we understand Ishvara's name is Om. Then we also learn, therefore, that's why any God form that we create, every God is we create, right? Rama we create, Krishna we create, we are not seeing him. We create Ganesha in the clay. But we don't say Ganesha in we say Om Ganesha in But the importance of Om comes in. Ishvara, you are Ishvara, but I've chosen this form, Ganeshwara. Om, you can say Om Allah Namaga, no problem. If you want to, anything you can say. The Om is important. That's very interesting. So I got a name, unique name. And what do I do with this? Then he said in 28, that Jabas, that Artha Bhavanam. This means repeat, realize, resemble. Repeat. Om, or Shiva, Shiva, Krishna, Krishna. Repeat, 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 repeat. Then you realize what is the name means. All this we talked about it. Then resemble. Artha Bhavanam. This is very important. If you want to learn yoga, the next part, you must be willing to visualize, imagine. Imagination is all about it. Vikalpam comes in. You must imagine that you are floating. Here he talks about imagine that you are in the state, because the imagination takes you there. Okay, if I do, what's the benefit? Then we say tat pratyak chedana adigo. If you do that one, all the antaravayaga, all the impediments will be gone. Impediments? Will I have impediments? Of course. What impediments I will have? And he said there are 9 impediments. What did he say? Vyadi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramadi, Alasya, Aviradi, Pranti Darshana, Alapta Bhumi, Bhumikatva, Anavastitatvani. Vyadi, disease. Sthanam, procrastination. Samshayam, doubt. Pramadam, carelessness. Alasyam, laziness. Aviradi, not giving up the sensual pleasures. Brandi Darshana. Oh, I think I see a light coming out or something like that. You have a mistaken notion of what Samadhi is all about. Alapta Bhumikatva. Anavastita. So you don't have a very firm ground. All these are impediments. When you start doing yoga, all this will come. Headache will come, your knee will pain, you're not able to sit. You get careless, you say the mantra very fast, you look at the phone and you do. So all these impediments need to go. Dukkha Daurmanas, Angameya Jayatva. Your body shakes, Swasa Praswasa shakes, your breathing is not controlled. So all these impediments which are natural for us, what he says, if you take Ishvara Pranidhana, if you are taking Ishvara as the prime objective of dhyana, they will subside. Now, how can I prove it? Proof is in the pudding. You start doing it, you will see that, every day when you do the dhyanam or sandhya vandanam or whatever you do, at that time, you are fresh. No impediments will come. So, we got that commitment. Then he says, well, all this is fine. Now, then he came, the most important thing is, all this will sustain and happen in you only if you have Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. Friendship, compassion, happiness, pleasantness, Upekshanam, overlooking. On what? Sukha, dukkha, punya, apunya vishyana. Whoever is happy, take them as your friend. Enjoy the happiness. That way you reduce your avarice, greed. Compassionate to people who are suffering. If somebody is doing good things, be very happy and proud of it. If somebody is doing a bad thing, stay out of this. Of course, if you're related people, you have to advise them, but even still they do it, stay out of it. They will learn it. So these are good values. You do the good values, and then you do. If it is not, this is important, this you have to do. Now he goes to the Madhyama Adhikaris, people like us. Okay, this is difficult for you to do. Pracharana Vidhananabhyam va pranasya. Okay, you can also do pranayama. You can try to control the breath. We are going to learn about it more later. Then he says, Vishayavadiva pravrittitpanna manasastani bandhani. So you can focus on something that gives you subtle joy. Focus on it. Or Vishokava Jyotishma. Or you see, look at the Atma Jnanam that comes in, or the yearning that comes to, the illuminated power that comes in. Focus on it. Or Vidaraga Vishayamva Chitta. So you focus on the great people who have no such attachment, avarice. Ramana Maharshi, Mahatmas, Mahatma Gandhi, whoever you want to think of a great person. Focus on their good qualities. Satsang, be in satsang. Or Swapna Nityananda Alambhanava. Or you think about the sleep happiness. Think about that. And he went, and everything we are finding an excuse. Oh, okay, I cannot do that. I can do that. Then he says, okay, fine. Yatha abhimada dhyanatva. Whatever makes you sit down and contemplate, take it. And he got fed up and said, okay, I've given you all this, but if you think that watching the football and sitting there makes your mind calm, no problem. Do it, but with a view to transcend that football match, transcend the Pratinirodha. This is very important insight. So don't abuse somebody who is sitting there quietly and watching something and peaceful, but is not doing the dhyanam. Dhyanam doesn't mean you should be in the puja room all the time. Wherever you can see, this is what the liberty that he gives you. Then because of this, you are able to expand your mind. So he says, Paramanu Paramahantvanto Vashikara. So the mind therefore becomes an ability. So see, when you are, I'm rushing it here, but I think you know all this thing. When you focus, that is important. You have to focus on something. Focus means converging into that. That is important. But you should be able to also expand, diverging to get. The why we have to expand, because what is our focus? Ishvara. Ishvara is Niradeshayam. He is all over the place. So I can focus on my mud pot air, mud pot space, what is inside me, my Jivatma, Atma Jnanam. Who am I can ask. I can focus on it. But I know the Atma is nothing but the Paramatma. I have to expand it. The expansion doesn't happen very easily unless you have this ability to have Virada Puja, the Shurupa Darshana. Seeing everybody is as you. Prem, Hitam. So this is what we talked about. And if you keep on doing that, what you can do your Sukshma Vishaya, you can go up to Alinga Paryavasana in 45. Basically, you can think about, you can contemplate or even the Prakriti, Maya. I told you that. You may ask the question. So Rupe Avasthanam, whatever I am meditating upon, I'll become that, right? Now my mind is expanding, focusing, I'm able to focus on anything, subtle matter. Prakriti means the fundamental cause of everything. I can focus on this. So if I focus on it, if I achieve it, I become that. So what I become? I become a Prakriti. I become one with this. That's what Patanjali said. But then Patanjali also said, Purusha Kyayet. This focus, this meditative contemplation leading to the oneness with what we are aiming for should be supplemented, or even, I would say, driven by Atma Vichar. Because I'm not here to contemplate on the Maya, which is elusive, the worshipper. I'm not meditating upon it, because I meditate upon the Purusha. But here we are not talking about it, because Patanjali is not Advaitic, at least in this way, he is a dualistic, Purusha and Prakriti. So I am here, everything is here, therefore I can meditate upon everything here, from the subtlest to the massive. But when you have Purusha Kyadi, when this disappears, then the Chitta Prasadana will come. So that he started covering in the important sutra, Rudampara Tatra Prajna. So when you have that kind of focus, the ultimate of Samprajna Samadhi, you will achieve a knowledge, an intuitive wisdom, which doesn't come from Pratyaksha Pramanam, inference, Agama, or Anuvana Pramanam, or even the Shastras. Even Vedas cannot tell you this. No, yeah, understand the insight. And he said, Tattvamasi, yeah, Veda tells me, but I get nothing out of it. But when Ribu Gita, when he was given this one, or Ramakrishna touches Vivekananda, he understands and he becomes one. Because they are ready for that, the Rudampara Jnana. So there is something called the Yoga Pratyaksham. Ritam, we talk to Ritam Satyam. Understanding the truth. Ritam is the truth of the truth. But what basically it means is, you're doing all this, your mind has become what? Pure. Mind becomes a glass. Now, whenever we go out of the house for a party, always invariably in our landing hall or the reception room, there will be a mirror there. At the last minute, touch it. So you look at the mirror and say, yeah, I'm looking fine, great. Why? Because you want to project yourself well. And you need a mirror. Imagine you have a mirror that shows you, yeah, you're going there with greed, avarice, anger. Would you go with that? You go and brush up and remove those things. You put a mascara over it and say, look, my anger is gone, right? But what happened is, this mind that you have is polished outside, Bahirmukham, with all this abhyasam, Antarmukham, because all this guna, maitri, karuna, compassion, guna, values. So values cleaned up inside, abhyasa vairagya cleans up outside. It's kind of polished mirror. I think there's one of these sutra we saw about, like a money, like a gem. So it just reflects everything as it is. So when you see somebody, you don't have opinion. You see fact, Rudampara again. You see exactly what it is. That's why when people attain that kind of a thing, they can see you, see through you. You know, when you go to them, sometimes you go to a great Mahatma, you want to sit with him, you want to ask him some questions, right? You trust him, you go there and sit there. But he is talking to you something about some other subject, he talks about it. Conversation is finished. You didn't ask the questions you wanted to ask. But you'll feel the answer that you wanted to ask has been answered. I don't know whether you had the experience of it. You fulfilled your clarity. It's not that Guru somehow has psychologically gone into your mind and taught you. No, he's just a mirror. He doesn't even know that you have the thought. This is why they get humble. You go to Paramacharya, you say Paramacharya did all this magic. He doesn't do magic. He's just there as a predicament. When you go there with the position of surrender, what does surrender means? You show everything. You have nothing to hide. You go there, he doesn't talk to you, you don't talk to him about that, but you get answers. You know what it is, because you have ability to see yourself in the mirror of him. What is my dirt is? What he's holding is this Ridampara Jnana. The Patanjali says, when you attain this is something else, all something else. When you attain the achievement of that one, you achieve something else. Then he divided into 4 parts: Vikalpam and Vicharam, and Savicharam and Vicharam, Savikalpam and Vikalpam. We have gone through all that. And then he said, all that if you do is Bija Samadhi, that means they will come back to your birth. But if you keep on doing it, you will attain Nirbija Samadhi. So Nirbija Samadhi is, there is no course for Nirbija Samadhi. You cannot go to anybody paying money that they're teaching Nirbija Samadhi. It's not be taught. Whatever you do is Sabija Samadhi. You come back to this world with a refined person. But at some stage, it becomes a Nirbija Samadhi. Tasyabi Nirote Sarva Nirodha Nirbija Samadhi. That time, you don't even have a view for that you are doing Samadhi. You are there like anybody, like a tree bearing fruits. Everybody throws stones at it, it's still bearing fruit, right? It doesn't come back and abuse. Now, when you hit a stone with this, does it come with a branch and beats you? No. It gives you another fruit. Yeah, child, take a fruit. Nothing it wants. So you become that kind of a person, Mahatma, in this world. Not that you're just wandering monk. You can be in a house. You can be a father, mother, a child. You can be a professor in a college. You can be anybody. But you are there as all-giving person, because you are there because samskara session was there. You have to have this, and then you become one with the Brahman. Now, all this is what he has told in the chapter 1. I tried to combine all these 28 classes into this, so I missed a lot of things, but you know the picture of it. So picture, therefore, is this is relevant. Yoga Sastram, Vedantam is relevant to our life, not for the retired life or moksha or something, for day-to-day affairs of life. Now, all this he has told sounds interesting. I am not able to do Abhyasam. I am not doing Vairagyam. It is not in my gene. What am I going to do, Guru? Then he said, okay, you are not Uttama Adhikari. Uttama Adhikari means you are not a super qualified person yet. Therefore, I will give you steps to inculcate Abhyasa and Vairagya. This is called sadhana. So I'm going to convert your life of action into life of yoga. You just do what you need to do. But you do the way I ask you to do, then you become an eligible person for Samadhi. That yoga, Patanjali calls it Kriya Yoga. Bhagavan calls it Karma Yoga. We're all the same. A different perspective to that. But here he's going to give you Kriya Yoga for Andarnuga Karma and Bhagavad Karma, outside activity, inside activity. So this you cannot say, I can't understand. This one we need to understand, we need to follow. So we will learn from the next class. We go back to the format. We will talk about each sutra and the insight. Now 55 sutras, I tried to make it as early as possible to bring it to a set number of classes. Many of them we already talked about it. So we close it there. So we take the Shanti Padha now. Sadoma Satgamaya.
Satoma Satgamaya.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya.
Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya.
Mrityoma Amritam.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Sate.